Hello, my name is Brandy Bernardi, and I am building a mobile app for Android devices called Parentalog. And it is like a newborn tracker app, and it is meant to make life much easier on parents, especially with newborns. It's a very stressful and hectic time for parents. I myself went through this last year having a newborn and trying to keep track of the feedings, the diaper changes, and the sleep schedule, which are all important to track so that you can make sure your baby's making progress and remains healthy. So I am creating an app that parents can use to track all the diaper changes, the feedings, whether it's breast or bottle feedings, their sleep schedule, and for mothers who are breast pumping, it'll also track the breast pumping schedules. So, my app is going to be very convenient and will help parents stay organized. It can also be used to store all the information in one place so that when parents see the pediatrician, the information is readily available for the pediatrician to see what progress the baby is making, and so everyone has peace of mind that the baby is still healthy. Let's see. There will be some new features with my app, specifically for the mom, because there are already newborn trackers on the market, but my app is going to have a questionnaire to track for postpartum depression, which is very common in new mothers. And there will also be a water tracker to track the mother's water intake, which is especially important for breastfeeding mothers, but important for any mother in general, any person. It's important to have a lot of water. So my app will stand out from the rest by having some features for the mom to keep her healthy as well. So as far as technology, I originally planned to use SAP app builds to create my app, which is essentially an app builder, um, where you can drag and drop components, and it's very easy. You don't have to have hardly any coding knowledge to do it. However, it's doesn't let you customize very much. My app is very specific. It has specific features where parents need to be able to enter in a bunch of information, each feeding, each diaper change, and then that information needs to be stored. I was hoping to be able to show it on graphs and charts later on. I needed to have a summary page of all the activities. So SAP app builds was great for me to use to build my prototype and to have some essentially wireframes of my app. I was able to build some pages to see how I want my app to look, but I haven't been able to complete all the functionality in SAP app builds. Again, that's just a low code, easy to build. Customization can be difficult in it. It's a drag and drop system. So I did do a prototype on SAP app builds, but I did further research, and actually on the recommendation of a classmate, I ran into a toolkit called Jetpack Compose. Someone in this class actually recommended using that because it makes it easier to code mobile apps. So that uses Android Studio. Android Studio is a lot like Visual Studio in that it gives you a place to edit the code, and you are able to preview the app as you go. So it's essentially where you do the coding at. And I'll be using the Kotlin coding language for my app. Android Studio is an integrated development environment, and it's for Android app development. On their website, I also took a bunch of educational pathways to learn Kotlin because I did not have very much programming experience. So I had to learn a lot and take a lot of educational courses to learn the Kotlin, to learn how to program. I'm still not very good. That's why I have not made a lot of progress actually doing my own programming. It's been mostly getting the prototypes ready and doing all the project deliverables for the project book. So that's where most of my progress is, which I will show at the end. Um, and Android Studio uses Gradle as the foundation of the build system, and it has Android specific capabilities. And I knew I was going to need a database to store the user data in, all the feedings and diaper changes and such. So, what's great about Android Studio is that they have a local database called Room, and that's where I'll be storing the data. And the Room Persistence Library provides an abstraction layer over SQLite. So it does a lot of the heavy lifting for me, and I just, simply have to interact with Room. The Jetpack Compose is a modern toolkit for building the native UI for Android. So that's where that came into play. It works in collaboration with Android Studio, and it makes it a lot easier to do things. It simplifies and accelerates the development because there's less code and that it has the Kotlin APIs in it. So now I can go ahead. So I've used SAP app builds to do my prototypes and wireframes and to get the general layout of my app. I may still continue down that path and try to finish my app in that, but because of the lack of customization, I don't think I will. I think I will switch over to Android Studio and try to build it from scratch there. But either way, by using the SAP builds, I will at least have completed up to a level 2 project. So that's kind of my safety net, and then I'll work on programming through Android Studio. So now I just want to do a quick run through. This is through SAP builds. This is what I have so far. This is just a very minimal demo. This will show you, of course, it's going to look a lot different because this is on my web browser instead of a cell phone. So on the cell phone, it will look much different. Obviously, it's super zoomed in. I hate that it won't let you see it as a more realistic phone view, but this is, so these things over on the side, the add baby and activity log, these would actually go at the bottom of your phone screen for Android to be like little navigation buttons that you can press to jump to each section. So like I said, this view is very zoomed in, like it's huge. It's not going to look this crazy, but you'll start with the add your baby page, and you can even click there and it will ask you if you want to add a picture. Obviously we can't, I'm on my computer, but I hope to be able to program that in. If not, this is kind of just a bonus feature. Then you can go and type the baby's name in, and actually all this stuff works. You can do that. You can do the birth date, and on the mobile app, this stuff does work to where you can pull up dates and all that. So it is functional. Some of these things are functional. Then you hit add baby, and it brings you to the activity log. And if you want to fix something you did, just hit edit baby. Then you can navigate back to the activity log. These were originally, I had just done them as labels, but I would obviously go back in and change them each to match this one. This is actually a button that you can click, and then you can do bottle feeding, left breast, right breast. I redid this page. I will show you a different mock-up of that. This was just what I had started with originally, but it's very oversimplified. So you can click bottle, and then right here is where you would enter in your ounces. And then you can either go back to the feedings page, or you can go back to the activity list. Each button works if you can use each one. Either way, so far that's the only page that I did, like I said, because I was realizing I didn't think SAP builds was really going to work for what I needed. So I also wanted to show a couple other pages that this is kind of what I want my layout. This is my updated version of what I want my layout to look like. I would like to have a summary page so I could have like a daily report for people to see, what all happened that day with their baby, how many times did they have a bottle, how long did they sleep, and then just past records. So I want the summary page to look something like this where you can filter through by dates. Again, these are just very simple. And then the sleep page, you would be able to either have a timer to start the sleep, start and stop it, or you can edit it. You could edit it, say you forgot to start the timer, you can edit it and manually input the times. Then it'll show up here as you do it, and that goes for each one. Just each page has the options that you can click, left or right for if you're breastfeeding, bottle if you're bottle feeding, solids I added, but that one I'll probably take away, possibly. It's something that you don't really need for newborns, but when you're around 6 months old, some parents start it. So either way, the options are on there. You'd essentially you'd be able to click each one and take you to a different page, and then it would also track the information there. And then again for diapers, same thing. You click which one it was, and it tracks it. So the last thing I would like to show is talk about a little bit more about the functionality. I showed some of it. As far as progress, this is the part that I'll show my progress. As I said before, most of my progress was just based on the project book and getting the project deliverables done for that. I spent a lot of time learning to program in Kotlin and doing my project deliverables. So unfortunately, I don't have like a working app to show right now. I did my as is and to be diagrams of how parents are currently writing stuff down or just trying to remember and not being able to remember at the checkups, and then how it will be if they use my app. It'll be easier. I did the SWOT analysis there, the work breakdown schedule, and then I did a user persona of a stay-at-home mom, just saying her responsibilities, what her goals are, and what her pain points are, so that hopefully my app will fix all that. And then I did a bunch of user stories. And based on these user stories right here is what I put into my Moscow. So this is what all my features are. Um, it has to have a user-friendly interface. I want it very simple, not overcrowded with things. Parents need to enter stuff and just be done and get it over with. So I want a very simple user interface with big buttons. It has to track the bottle feedings, breastfeedings, diaper changes, and sleep schedule, as I showed. There'll be a page for each one where the parent can hit the button, enter in the information, save it. The information will be saved in the database where they can pull it up later in summary form or as a specific activity list. Either way, they'll be able to see the data from previous sessions. I also have to include the questionnaire that screens for postpartum depression. I will be making mine similar to the one that they give you at obstetrician's office after you have your baby. They give you a simple questionnaire just to see if you're at risk for postpartum. And if so, my questionnaire would alert the mother, hey, you should probably have a checkup done. You're at risk for this. And then I also would need build an algorithm in the app to be able to score the questionnaire so that it can tell the user if they are at risk or not. I need to add functionality to separate the wet from dirty diapers. As I showed, there should be a button for each one or a mixed one so that parents can track each one separately. Each one means different things. I should log breast pumping sessions. That is something one of the prototypes I hadn't made yet, but I want to be able to log the breast pumping sessions, whether it's on the left side or right side, for how long, how much was produced. It'll be a page that looks similar to the ones I showed. You should be able to track the left and right separately or together. Many people just do them both at the same time, but you never know. And I should also add functionality so that the user can see the baby's progress on a line chart. I mean, at the bare minimum, I want the progress listed, each session listed, but it would be really nice to have a line chart that shows their progress over time. And also need a summary page for all activities, which I showed. Some other things that I might implement as a stopwatch for the breast pumping sessions so mothers can keep track so they don't have to watch the clock. It'll just be right there on their app while they're already entering information anyway. The water tracker. It's a could because I want to get the bare minimum features done first and then add the water tracker if I have time. I would like to allow users to add a photo. I was able to include that with the SAP builds version, but if I have to manually code that part, I might not be able to include it. It depends. And then a login functionality. I could do this. I don't know if I will, but to where parents can come up with a username and password. And then program alerts when the baby isn't meeting the minimum standards. So if the baby didn't have as many wet diapers as they should have, that could alert the parent that they may be dehydrated. So if I have time, I will program a way for the parent to receive notifications saying, hey, this could be a problem. You should look into this. Then there's a few won't things that I'm not going to do. So, but yeah, this is all the functionality that I want my app to have. And then the prototypes and wireframes kind of showed what those may look like. So thank you.